Hi, I'm Sabrina Zupko with Liberty University's Communications 622 course, doing a presentation of organization culture from Chapter 18 of the text. On slide 2, you'll see organization culture. Culture is defined as the beliefs or customs of a particular society or group, and organization culture is the beliefs or customs of an organization. Now, there's no widely accepted definition. However, Hofstede defines it as collective programming of the mind. Now, the reason why I chose to quote Hofstede is because he is one of the first that coined the phrase, and he is also one of the most widely used references for scholars discussing organization culture. Now, a common theme in the book for organization culture is values and norms. On slide 3, you'll see the historic foundations, and it talks about anthropology, sociology, social psychology, and economy. Now, anthropology is the study of human cultures. It is a view of the culture from the native's point of view, and it uses immersion to understand culture. Sociology, on the other hand, is the study of people in a social system, and it looks at behaviors of groups in society, and it uses typology to understand the culture. Social psychology is the study of a group's influence on individuals, and it looks at the behavior of the individual within the group, and it focuses on creation and manipulation of symbols to understand the culture. Now, anthropology looks at regions of humanity. For example, it looks at ancient Egyptians, it looks at modern Americans, and so on. And sociology, on the other hand, looks at the people in the social system. So within America, United States of America to be more specific, you'll see that we have the different states, and even within those different states there's different social systems. And so sociology looks at the groups that make up America. And social psychology looks at the individuals that make up those groups that make up America. So it kind of builds on each other. Economics is kind of different because rather than looking at individuals, groups, or humanity as a whole, it looks at the economy. And it looks at the economy, how the economy influences culture and how cultural attributes affect the economy. On the next slide, you'll see organizational culture versus the climate. Now, organizational culture is a group perception based on values and norms, and it's also based on the history and traditions of the organization. Climate, on the other hand, is the individual's perception. It's the behaviors, attitudes, and feelings towards the culture and the current atmosphere. The culture, again, is based on long-term for the organization, and the climate is based on the here and now from the individual's perspective. The next slide talks about how to create culture, and it goes through the 5 steps. First is to formulate a strategic value. Now, this is the basic beliefs about an organization's environment that shape the strategy. The next step is to develop cultural values. These are the values that employees need to fulfill the strategic values. The next step is to create the vision, which is the futuristic idea that the organization hopes to achieve. And then the organization needs to initiate implementation strategies. This is the action phase in which the individuals within the organization build on the values to reach the vision. And then the last step is to reinforce the cultural behavior. And this is done through rewards, word of mouth, and recognition. Rewards is self-explanatory, and word of mouth is whenever a person does something where they get the reward and word is spread about them getting the reward for doing what the organization hoped for them to achieve. And then recognition can be done through company awards, where they give out different recognition for different things, like Employee of the Month. Again, going through the steps, the last step, reinforcing the cultural behavior, it reinforces the behaviors that initiate the implementation of the strategy. And that is done to create the vision, which is based on the strategic and cultural values. So again, these build upon each other. The next slide is about managing culture. Now we know how to create it. How do we sustain it? Well, first, take advantage of existing culture. If it works, there's no sense in changing it. It's important to look at what is already there and go with it if it's good. If not, then there's some other steps to do. Teaching the organization culture. Now, this is done through socialization, where individuals are taught about the existing cultures. And the final one is changing the organization culture. Now, if the culture does not back up the vision of the organization, then it needs to change. And this can be done through managing the symbols that make up the culture, dealing with difficulty and change, and stability of change. If you don't reinforce the changes that are taking place, then people will revert back to the original culture that was there and that was not fulfilling that vision. Now, the question that I wanted to ask is, what is the organizational culture and climate at your current place of employment? If you currently work someplace where this doesn't apply, for example, you're an entrepreneur and you work alone, or you're unemployed, then go back to the last applicable place of employment. And for me, I'm currently self-employed, so I don't work within an organization where there is this climate or culture. So I'm going to go back to the last place where I worked, which was at a college, working in public relations as the graphic designer. Now, the organization culture was based on 50 years of the college being in operation, and it helped shape the policies and procedures, the vision, the mission statement, and so forth. And if you did what you were supposed to do, then you were recognized for that. And they gave out awards and that sort of stuff to help manage that. Now, within the organization, there were also climates. There were various departments within the organization, and you have new employees that are coming and going and so forth. And so the climate is something that was ever changing. Now, the climate should reflect the culture. In the department that I worked in, however, my boss was the previous designer, and she was promoted to become the boss. And so they had to fill her position, plus the webmaster quit, so they also had to fulfill that position. There were only 4 ladies that worked in the office, so we're talking about half of the department being replaced, and one of the employees getting a huge promotion. So that climate was changing from the time I walked through the door. 6 months after I got hired, we hired the webmaster, so again, it changed with that as well. So, of course, our behaviors and all of that changed as these different changes took place. Now, again, the climate should reflect the culture, and this can be done through our evaluations and awards and different recognitions that we got within the company. Overall, there were a lot of things within the climate that could have better reflected the culture, but the culture itself was very good. The policies, very sound policies, and so forth. So I really look forward to hearing about the culture and climate within your places of employment, and I want to thank you all for listening to my presentation. Thank you.